today I'm making videos about Saturn through the 12 astrological signs. And if you have your Saturn in Pisces, then this is your video. Well, what can I say? This is probably one of the most complicated placements for Saturn. And why, you ask me, is because Saturn is all about boundaries. Look at its rings, it's symbolic of boundaries. Look at what Saturn rules in our body. It rules our hair, our nails, our teeth, our skeletal structure. Saturn gives form. Okay. Saturn is essentially the principle of negentropy, which means constriction, restriction. Wherever Saturn is placed, there's always the question of our greatest challenges popping up from that sphere. Okay. And once we work with that energy, we see that our greatest challenges actually become our biggest and truest blessings. Okay, but Saturn is all about adulting. Hashtag adulting. Saturn is about a shove into adulthood, and Saturn is about clear boundaries. It's about working hard, discipline, dedication. It's also about our phobias, anxiety, traumas. Now, boundaries, and Pisces, no boundaries. It's probably the most complex sign of the zodiac. All the other 11 signs dump their ghost energy into Pisces, and that is probably why Pisces, the 12th house, is a place that is inexplicable. It's deep, it's dark, and it's not something we can easily put to words. And Saturn is all about logic. It's about mastery of our karma. It's karma bearer. Saturn is the karma bearer. If you understand the mythology, the Vedic mythology of Saturn, Saturn is born out of light or Surya, and Chaya or shadow. So inherently, you see how dualistic this energy is. But everything in this 3D world is dualistic. Look at Pisces, for instance. Pisces is the very embodiment of dualism, but in a very different type of an energy. Saturn is cold, detached. Pisces wants to immerse itself in this whole experience, in the samsara. The two fish swimming away, symbolic of us being pulled in different directions. And wherever Pisces is, honestly, there's always trauma associated with that region in your horoscope. And the 12th house is about death, about loss, about past lives, about ancestors. So Saturn here takes on a very psychic and empathic and very compassionate feel. Now you have to understand that Saturn poses our greatest challenges, and in Pisces, what does Pisces really want? Remember, we are the signs, and the planets interact with us. So, say we have a seventh house Pisces Saturn. So here we'll be restricted with our relationships. Okay, they will pose the greatest challenges for us. But once we've mastered what we want, and once we've gone beyond our childish escapades, and we truly develop a strong relationship. Okay, and Pisces is a hopeless romantic, seventh house Pisces especially. But other than that, Saturn cannot really hold boundaries or hold form in Pisces, because everything just enmeshes itself. It's almost like an entanglement that forms, and Saturn here wants to look at the more occult, more hidden side of life, death, maybe near death experiences, maybe uh, the occult, metaphysical. Saturn here wants to definitely work in the spiritual line. And I mean, I say that because I have a 12th house Saturn. And yes, your father may not be there for you all the time, okay? And not in the sense you might expect him to. but you may have some problems, some issues with your father in your childhood that may have resulted in some sort of lack of self-confidence. You do get the chance to work things out with Saturn when you get your Saturn return and you're 29, and Saturn comes knocking on your door and it's like, hello, it's not now time to acknowledge what you've done. It's time to take authorship of how you've lived your life. Look at it like this: the solar logos expands, and through Mercury, it learns about communication, and Venus, it learns about things we love. In Mars, it has this wild impulse to just move and grow, and then in Jupiter, everything just expands, and then what? Then we have to also contract somewhere. We have to constrict this movement to hold form, and that's what negentropy brings. That's what constriction brings. That's your Saturnian blessing. That is why Saturn is your greatest ally. Saturn wants you to understand self mastery, self actualization, and this can be done through the Piscean understanding of spirituality. This is definitely a religious person, a metaphysical person, a spiritual person. Saturn in Pisces, you are not interested to you may have had a lot of karma regarding this. Like for instance, you're psychic and your dad didn't understand what you were going through and he was rude, he was horrible to you, or other father figures or establishment did not understand your experiences. Maybe there was something deep within you that was stirring an intuitive awakening, a spiritual awakening. You felt isolated. That was a cause of trauma for you, pain, phobia, anxiety, and then you work through it and you realize, okay, this is my energy signature, this is, I'm ruled by Neptune, the higher octave of Venus. I'm supposed to understand one love. I'm supposed to understand a unitary consciousness, the source code, because that's where I return now after Pisces, when everything goes back into oblivion, into the great void. Saturn in the Vedic mythology is black, Shani. That is the great void, Shunyata of the Buddhists, from where every form originates. And Pisces is a very complex energy signature. That's why I said Saturn is not so complex. Saturn is pretty cut and dry. This is Karma Cafe. Please take a seat. You will be served according to what you deserve and when you deserve it. Okay, no one can escape the karma of Saturn, and it's going to come and get you. The first Saturn return is about you awakening to the karma you have generated, and then really putting that work out there to develop yourself. And then your second Saturn return, I think, is about you giving back that wisdom that you've been cultivating for 29 odd years. Okay, you worked on yourself with that wisdom. Now what? Now give it to the world. And Pisces is compassionate. Saturn here is compassionate. So this is a zone where empathy, ESP, association with others, compassion, deep compassion can take place. And Saturn here will be supportive once you've got over all that trauma, all that anxiety, all that phobia, all that restriction. Uh, Maybe you've not had a parent, someone, maybe there has been death or separation. With Pisces, there's a lot of you expected to be cared for, but with Saturn, everything is about your greatest good. And once you truly assimilate this understanding that everything you've gone through has made you who you are. Today, if you ask me, would I give up all the tragedies that happened to me? I'd be like, no, because that is what cemented me as an individual. It's made me who I am. So all your traumas, your phobias, your shadow self, once faced, can be integrated, and that is the work of your Saturn return. Understanding what is your greatest challenge, and working with it solving it. Saturn is practical, like Capricorn, the sign it rules. I told you it wants self actualization, for you to reach self actualization. So, Saturn gives you very practical ways to work out your karma, you know, and karma is not a bitch. Karma is just the law of causation. It's not something you can avoid. It's not something to hate or to abhor or to be frightful of. It's the very simple fluidity of the universe. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. This is what Saturn can very well understand, and through this deep compassion can be developed, where you work with the spiritual world. You could be religious, as I said, depending on many other things. Whatever brand of spirituality or religion you subscribe to, you are here to maybe look into that, maybe teach it, maybe meditate on it, because Pisces is again very physical energy. In a sense, it has as I said, all the signs are dumping its energy into Pisces. Pisces, the two fish swimming away. It's so symbolic. It's like being torn. You're always being pulled from one directionality to the other. Like, where do I go? So you have to understand that staying in the middle path. And I guess that's what Saturn is here to teach you. You're water, you're mutable, uh, and you can be like an emotional sponge. Maybe sometimes Saturn can help you develop a certain level of detachment and coldness that you require. Like otherwise, you just can't function if you're looking at the otherworldly energies. You've got to understand the energies of this world, and Saturn is all about explaining to you what the energies of this world entails. Saturn rules the 3D world, okay, and is the first guardian of the humans, and is probably your greatest ally. Not probably, is your greatest ally and your greatest teacher. No frills, no fluff, just come as you are. I hope you like that video as much as I like making it for you. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and of course, please let me know what you think of these videos. I'm always looking forward for feedback, and visit my website www.dinax.com. Thank you. Bye.